Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at this guy here. A lot of sequels this new year, I guess. This is the Zero 2 from 7Hz, formerly Sol Notes. And we're going to be looking at this. This is a single dynamic driver. And I got the IM right here. Now it comes with this, what they call a new and improved cable. I'll go over that in a minute. It still says Sol Notes there. So it's a rather thin cable. It's got the nice metal to it. It's got this right here, which I thought was really nice, is this mirrored thing right there. I thought that was nice. The slide is kind of cheesy. Looking at the build quality, and this cable does tangle. I mean, it's not the greatest cable in the world, especially these ear hook things, these funky, kind of weird things. I guess they kind of protect it a little better, maybe. I don't know. I can't see really the need for them, but they're there. The ear hooks are generous. There's no pressure on the ears. Despite the odd shape that kind of looks like a peep looking up with its mouth open. There's a little bird beak and a little eye. Which is basically the same as the original. Build quality, kind of chunky. Like a lot of room in there. Like they could have stuck a couple of BAs in there. Or a much bigger driver. And it's got this, let me take these tips. It's got all kinds of tips with it too, which I thought was interesting. You got this kind of, almost looks like a Canera kind of filter on the end. Reminds me of the one that came with the SIF. Very nice looking. It's an interesting shape, but this is kind of chunky and doesn't have that nice. You can see the overlap there where the shell comes together. This is just average build quality, to be honest. Now these chips I got here were one of the last ones I was trying. These were more of a narrow. There are wider bore chips in there. And I'm going to try to put that back on quickly. So, passes the chip test. I was able to do that fast enough. Here's the bag where you get it. The default were these red with a little bit wider bore than this. Just looking at the chips, like, quickly, you may just think that they're all the same, and they pretty much look all the same size too. But there are differences in the bores and in the shapes. And it's nice to see the colors. I would like to see like a whole bunch of colors like that with other things instead of all the same. So, alright. So comfort-wise, isolation, that was about average with this. I don't think that it'll bother most people's ears. Even though it is a weird kind of shape, it is kind of edges, but it is rounded edges, so there's no really sharp, except for maybe this corner right here. That isn't sharp, but it is, a less rounded and more squared. But unique shape. People that bought the original know what they're in for with that. Let me just put that over there for now. Not the greatest looking IM in the world. So let's look at the specs here. 02. It is 32 ohms, 108 decibels, 10 to 20 kilohertz. And of course it is a 10 millimeter PU metal composite diaphragm on it. 0.78 2-pin connector, so you can always find an easy fix for the cable if you don't like the cable. It's not that I don't like the cable, it's just, I don't know, looking at the photos, I never tried the original, so looking at the photos, basically, the other one looked like it was like semi-braided or something like that. It just looked like a better, thicker cable. I like thicker cables, to be honest, because thinner cables, sometimes you get caught somewhere and that's it. You got to go get a new one. So let's talk about the tuning. Obviously, we're going to start at the bass. Now, the bass on this is very good. It has both kind of more neutralities in the mid bass and just a really nice kind of power to it in the sub bass. Now, these are nowhere near bass head level whatsoever. I would not consider this, but there is a nice rumble down in the sub bass. There's a good bass response in general. I think there's good speed to the bass. And I think that it's a very, very technically competent when we're talking about bass. I think that it has quality and quantity. Maybe not super amount, like a bass cannon or something like that. But for a single dynamic driver, it does a good job. It isn't this horrible pounding bass that has no control, and it is very slow and just muddy and all that. The bass sounds really, really good. It is a good quality bass there. I think that it adds some warmth to it, and I think that the bass has some good detail as it is. So we're going to move on to the mids. Now, I found the mids very, very nice. I found them smooth and pleasant, with, enough energy and enough weight to make them just very enjoyable. Now, by no means are these very thick mids, and I don't think that these are overly thin mids either. I think these kind of just fall into like a realm where they're in the just right realm. I think that overall people will like the energy and the tonality of the mids. Male and female vocals both sound really good, and they have both the amount of emphasis. And I love the positioning of the mids. It's natural, organic, kind of just in front of the instruments, not way back, and definitely not pushed in your face. I think female a little bit more forward than the male, but ultimately a very, very good positioning when it comes to the mids. There's good separation and clarity there as well. Going into the treble. Now, the treble is very, very nice. I think that it has just enough air and energy in its extension. There's some really nice kind of smooth details there. I think that the treble sensitive people will like this as well. You get kind of a more kind of laid back kind of treble, but you're not missing out. It sounds very natural, the treble here. So you're getting some natural details. It's not overly detailed, not overly sharp. Just overall, just a really nice kind of smooth, laid back kind of tuning when it comes to the treble. I think that there's some good staging there as well. It's not super wide and artificial sounding, but it's good enough. It's just like in your head, and maybe extends a little bit beyond the head range, but decent enough. And there's very good imaging and everything, so it could work for mobile games. And probably not the best in the world for something like movies and mobile games, but for enjoying music, man, this sounds really, really good. I don't remember, what people said about the original, but overall I did like the Zero 2. I found it to be a very nice kind of mature tuning, with that nice bass extension, and it just sounded quite pleasant. I don't know how this would go, putting it up against something like the Cadenza or something else like that. But maybe in the future I'll do a Cadenza versus the Zero 2 or something like that, if that's what you want. I like it. I can't really see anything horribly wrong with it. The cable's not the greatest cable in the world, but, it's a nice cable. It does its job, and it doesn't fall apart, and that's all I can say. So if you're looking for something and this sounds like something that you were looking for, or you're a fan of the original, I'm not sure if this even comes close to what the original was. I have no idea, but I do know I like it. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been the 7Hz Zero 2. Thank you.